Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today we're doing a tier list. This is the Middle-earth Wanderers podcast.
Yes, and this is going to be our first tier list on YouTube. We're going to have many other tier lists like evil units tier list. We're gonna have good commanders, evil commanders, gear tier list, and several other things. So this is the good units tier list, and yeah, let's get started. I am Talion from the Forces of Good.
And I'm Ermine of the Forces of Evil.
So for our first unit, this is the Rohan unit, the horse one. It's called
Not the Gondor
Cavalier.
one.
What do you think about what do you what do you think about this unit, Hermine?
So I like how much burst damage he has in the first instance. I use this guy a lot actually for Aragorn, just because of how ridiculous it was seeing this unit just go in and smash some people and then leave.
Yeah. I think it's an amazing unit. It's very powerful in terms of attack, and then it also has the damage received minus 10% because of its other ability. So I would say without its ability, it's a pretty average unit. It would go into like B tier, C tier maybe. But I think its abilities are the ones that give it the upper hand, and I would personally put it between A tier and B tier. I mean, it has very good damage. Its HP is okay for a mounted unit, and its defense is pretty bad, I'll be honest. But it has good speed
Yeah, but
and an
that can be
average siege.
circumvented because a lot of gear that people have give you plus on defense. So I'm sure that can be workaround.
Yeah. So
But if
where
you're going
where
to be running this anyway, I would probably try to like maximize that damage as much as possible.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What would you put it in, Hermione? What tier?
Probably a B, just because I happen to like tankier units, but that's because I prefer to use things. Now, being an evil, I prefer to use things like
Yeah.
and poison, madness, burning, all the fun stuff.
Yeah,
So
I think
the
I would
longer
agree
I'm
with
in the
that.
battle, the more damage the good guys are going to take.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that because if you tank that first hit, they're basically just a normal horse unit, which is not that powerful.
Oh yeah.
So
Because
yeah,
one
I
of
would.
my favorite things to do is run like Kamul with trolls and just sit there and watch him do like 200,000 poison damage just sitting there. And the enemy's like, oh, I can't even heal off this. I'm like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I would completely agree about that. Yeah, so B tier it is for the Cavaliers. Next
Of course.
is the Longbowmen from also from no, sorry, not Longbowmen. The
Short bowman.
yeah, no. I confused them with the tier 2 of Rohan. It's the Sharpshooters. So,
Oh,
yeah, the Archers
the
of
ones that
Rohan.
are like, yeah, I never actually used these guys.
They're
Even
pretty
on my
bad.
good account, I've never touched them.
I would say they're the worst archer unit. Uh,
Now, this may also come from a bias from using evil commanders myself, but I don't like ranged
the thing
units
is,
just because of that.
no, but I mean, range units are useful if you have, for example, the Sentinel. The Sentinel's pretty good. They're the
Yeah, but
Elven
you gotta keep
range
in
units,
mind.
and then also the
Yeah,
Bone Knights. But this one, I mean, I would only use it if it gives me a buff with a man commander. For example, Aragorn gives man
yeah.
buffs. But besides that, I mean, they're pretty useless. I would put them personally in a C tier because you don't use them that much, and the other archer units are a lot better.
Well, consider this: all the dark side units
Yeah.
are are almost all melee. You don't have any ranged units barely. You
Yeah, I
have like
would.
two ranged units,
Yeah.
and one of them is an anti-sniper or an anti-range by being a sniper.
Yeah. So I think, I
So
mean, yeah, there's not that many, but at the same time, I wouldn't use them. I would rather use fully melee than use them because their damage isn't that great.
And because what did we discover the other day that the higher the speed of the unit, it's going to get around other units anyway and attack
Yeah,
your backline.
exactly,
So it's like these these types of cavalry are just going to go around and just straight up attack the archers anyway.
exactly. And the archers are slow, so they're definitely not gonna evade it. So yeah, I think even I would even argue to put it in D tier. I mean, I haven't
Because
seen. I wouldn't
what
use
are
it
these guys
personally.
really going to be? A lot of armies are comprised have compositions based on counters. Like if your enemy is using trolls, you're using bow knights.
Yeah, but the
That
thing
being
is, with
said,
these
what are
guys,
the sharpshooter countering?
yeah, but nothing. They're not. They only have an ability which first 2 rounds damage dealt plus 40%, which is good. But at the same time, we talked about this. If you tank the first attack, the first two
Yeah,
attacks, it's over for them, and they're slow. They could easily get killed. And yeah, they don't have that much damage.
and unless you're doing like a very range heavy build, like you have some tanks on the front line, and
Yeah,
let's say you're using Legolas or Haldir, and you're building a complete ranged build with them, it's very specific. You need the proper gear
and
just
the
to make
thing
these
is,
guys viable.
my issue is
And then
they
if
would be
you're
good
fighting
if
Mordor, they just bring out snipers.
yeah, but they would be good if you didn't have the other archer units, and that's why I'm saying it's useless. That's why I'm arguing it would be in D tier.
Oh, I agree.
So do you agree to put it
Well,
in D tier?
yeah, I agree a D just because I now that might also be biased because I don't know how else to use them.
But there isn't though. They don't have a special ability. I mean they are stronger than normal, like in terms of health and HP. They are stronger than the Sentinels, but like barely.
Yeah,
It's a difference of 2 defense
because I
and
look
two
at it
H and
like
4 HP. It's not that
because I look
much.
at it like how am I gonna put these guys in a build? What's the army composition these guys are gonna be around? What skills are going to be useful to them? What gear can I put on a commander to make it even better? And I just don't see that with these guys.
And yeah, I think they're really bad, and they deserve the T tier, the D tier.
It would take a lot of investment just to make them viable.
Exactly. All right. So I think they deserve D tier. Next up on the list are the Rangers, so the Dunedain. Um,
Okay, these guys I actually kind of like
at
just
f-
because
at
when I
first,
was playing in
personally, I thought they
Airborne,
were useless, and then I realized how good they can be.
them and there's an equivalent of them on Mordor side under it's the anti-archer horsemen that they have on Mordor side,
Yeah.
and they're just amazing. It's like they're just dodging arrows and just destroying archers. Now, there's a character on Mordor side which has a giant axe. I forgot his name, but he's anti-archer on his fifth respect level.
Yeah.
Putting these types of units with him are awesome.
Yeah,
Just
and
because if the enemy brings any form of archers, he just cuts them in half, and it's like, well, okay, there's half your army.
exactly. And I don't know if you fought Lothlorien, but they have a really overpowered archer unit. If you have these guys, they'll shred them.
Oh yeah.
Because the units of Lothlorien, they're very powerful in terms of damage. I think they deal like 50 to 66 damage. Their archer unit, the tier 4. If you bring these guys, they deal extra damage. So it's, to be exact, they'll deal exactly 30% extra damage to range units, and they'll concentrate on them. So all their damage will go towards the range units. That way, basically the tier 4 of Lothlorien against these units becomes useless. So I think they're really good. But at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time, if you don't use them against archers, they become kind of insignificant compared to the what are their name? Compared to the guardians of Erebor, the shieldmen of Erebor.
Yeah, they do a bleed type damage, don't they?
Yes, they do. But I mean, the shield bearers of Erebor have much more health, and they're better at tanking. Because you normally, like the front units, you want to use them for tanking, and these guys aren't really tanks. They're more to destroy the back units of other units. So I think I would put them in A tier.
Alrighty.
They're not great. They're not okay. They are good, but they're not great.
Now, that being said, every time I ever ran my Kmool against these guys, whenever I had like my Morgul archers,
Yeah,
that's when I would have a problem with these.
but that's what I'm saying. If you're
Because
not using
I used to run Morgul
archers,
archers, and then I see these guys, and I feel like I have to run snipers after that. But then it's like, well, if I just take out the Morgul archers, I can just have more trolls, and then they can't do anything.
exactly. If you have a counter to them, they do have a counter, and they're only specific to certain units. That's why I'm saying they're not an S tier. They're more of an A tier.
I think I would put them in B just because they're very specific to archers. And we were talking about that just the last unit. How many people are running archers? Everyone prefers melee.
Yeah, I mean it also depends on the
You would have to
factions.
really
For
know
example,
what your enemy's
Erebor.
building. You'd have
Ere-
to really know what your enemy's building.
I mean, yeah, I think okay, maybe B tier, A tier. I don't know. Um, Personally, I don't use them that much. Even when we fought Lothorian, I didn't use them. I thought the tier fours could do their job without, because you don't. If you have a good tier four, for example, I was in Erebor, and the tier
Yeah.
four would just tank all the hits of the tier four of Lothorian, and I would actually deal more damage with the tier fours than with these archer guys. I mean, with these Dunedains. So actually, maybe a B tier. Yeah, I would say B tier as well. All right. So next up are the big boys, the marshals.
The marshals?
Yep, the marshals of Rohan, the tier four of Rohan,
The marshals?
the marshals. Yeah, I know. It gives you nightmares. So these guys, it's a bit of a controversy because a lot of people. So basically, yeah, I think it's a bit of controversy because some people say they're not better than the Gondor tier fours, but I disagree. I think they're a lot better. Um, they have a solid build, and then their abilities make them even more overpowered. I think they're basically the same as the Cavalier, but upgraded to a level where they can destroy anything.
Yeah. And it takes more like 3 turns for them to lose their bonus damage.
Exactly. Not even 3 turns. It takes more technically, because it does divide it
Now,
by 1/3. And I mean actually yeah. After the third round, it kind of becomes irrelevant.
that being said, it's really funny to fight Rohan. Now, this is me from my experience with Mordor and how mad people would get looking at the damage numbers
Yeah.
whenever they fought my Mouth of Sauron.
Yeah.
Because it eliminates the Marshal's effect because Mouth of Sauron takes 5 rounds to do his negative 75% damage to everybody. So the Marshal are doing minus 75% damage as well as the Mordor units. By the time that goes away,
Yeah.
the Marshals lost their damage buff.
Yeah. So I guess if but I mean that's technically with kind of all the units. So yeah, I mean that's something specific to the commander. Like if you put another unit, for example, the tier four of Erebor, the same thing would happen.
Oh, it works the opposite way with the Fallen from Angmar because they ramp up as the battle goes.
Yeah.
So after turn 5 or whatever, they're doing like their maximum amount of damage.
Yeah.
And again, Mouth of Sauron takes 5 turns to get rid of that damage debuff. So you could like slow down your enemy while giving all these damage buffs to Mouth of Sauron and like the Fallen or something, and then you're just seeing them smash against the wall.
Yeah.
Like I want to try a build like that at some point.
Yeah. But this kind of off topic.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
it's comparing the T4 of it's what I'm saying. It's the opposite of the Angmar one.
Yeah, I get you. But I think the marshals do well. I think I would put them in S tier. Um, they're definitely better than all the ones we've gone through, and I think they deserve an S tier. I mean, compared to the other tier fours, they're really good.
Yeah,
All right.
because I go ahead.
I'm continuing. All right. So next is the Sentinel, right? It's
Okay,
the archer unit. Sorry.
so this was the elf guy, right?
Yeah, this is the Elven unit.
Um, I'm trying to remember which one it was. I'm trying to find it
It
in the
is the
game.
Sentinel. It's called the Sentinel. It's the Archer Elven unit. So I would put it personally. I think it's the best Elven Archer unit. Okay, not the best, but it's one of the best. I would put it in A tier because it's not amazing, so it wouldn't go in S tier. But it's definitely better. It's a good unit. You normally use it with a lot of dwarves. You combine it, and yeah, I think it would be good if it was an A tier or B tier. I wouldn't put it
Now,
under B tier.
this is another situation where I've never used these guys or seen them very often in battle.
Erebor and Lothorian use it a lot. Personally, in
Alrighty.
Erebor, everyone used it. In Rohan, same thing. I think they're really good. It's just after a point, the tier fours kind of outmatched them. I would put them
Don't they
maybe
have
in.
like don't they have only one ability too?
Yeah, they do have only one ability, but they're really powerful.
Alrighty.
I
I'll
think I
have
would
to
put
look
them.
into them this
They
season,
have 100% chance of avoiding the first instance of damage, which is great.
especially against something like the Marshall.
Exactly. So yeah, I would put them in A tier, maybe B tier. I don't know.
Alrighty. Since I don't know a lot about them, I'll probably say A. They sound good, but I would have to experiment more with them to find out more
All
about
right,
them.
all right. I put them in A tier then. Next is the Bow Knights, the Beasts. I actually think these units are very good.
I hate Bow Knights.
Yeah, they're really powerful. They make the all large units basically feel like small units which get destroyed. Uh,
So with Mordor using nothing but trolls and Mumma kills, you know what I mean when I say these guys are my bane.
exactly. Yeah, they're really powerful against evil factions, and
Like we're just losing 20 Mumma kills per battle. We're like, what's going on?
yeah, and they're really powerful in terms of taking damage as well. They can take damage. And
Oh
then if
yeah.
you combine these guys with cataphracts and with like Theoden and a commander like Theoden, they basically become an insane army.
Or even Eowyn has a extra damage against large
Yeah,
units, which compounds with these guys.
yeah, and they become beasts. I think I would put them. I also think they wouldn't be in S tier because you do need units with them to be able to use them. So I would put them in
And
A tier.
they mostly only are specific against large units.
Exactly. So I would put them in A personally because they're really powerful
Yeah, I would put them in A2 if not S, just because of how often I've seen them fight my units.
and destroy them.
Oh yeah.
Next up is the unit that no one uses, the Herald. I don't even know
I
if you've ever seen
love
this on
this
battle.
unit. Okay,
The
I spam 4,000 of these guys on Elrond. Elrond gets that strength buff, and these guys wreck face after that. It's
really?
awesome.
I've
Yeah.
never I was literally about to tell you we should make a rank lower than D and put these guys in them. They're horrible.
If they're under Elrond, they're amazing. That's about it.
Yeah, but then compare them with other units. For example, so they do 15 to 26 damage, which is good for
Yeah.
like a front line. But then look at their HP and defense compared to other units. And their ability,
Now
I mean, it's
it would
good, but
take
it's not
time.
great.
It would take time to show why with Elrond, but putting a bunch of elf buff items on Elrond and then
Yeah,
having Elrond himself in the middle of battle just wrecking face,
yeah.
it feels like you're in the third age. It's awesome.
So you want to go for B, I guess.
No, I'm going for D.
For D, okay.
These
Yeah, I think
guys
I would
only are
agree with
good with
D.
Elrond, and that's it.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So
So what's our
next,
next? What's our next one?
oh, so next is the shield bearers of Erebor.
Oh, they do this weird bleed that I don't like.
Yes, and they're probably the best unit for sieging.
You
They're
know,
also the best unit for tanking in terms of like tier 3 units. I
I
mean,
do
all
wish
around.
more characters. I do wish more units used bleed.
Yeah, I guess so, but then it would be overpowered. I mean, bleed isn't. It's good, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, but it makes more sense on like dang it, some of the Mordor characters are just in general.
Yeah,
Like
probably.
I would love seeing that on like say the assassin. I don't know if the assassin does it. I don't think they do.
I have no idea. I've barely played with evil. But these
The
guys
goblin
are
assassin
really
is
good. I
amazing.
mean, they're so I just like I said, they're the best unit in terms of sieging. Um, they're also one of the best units in terms of tanking. Like them and the cataphracts are up there in terms of the best tanking units.
And
And
this one's the which one is this one again? The
the guardian,
dwarf.
yeah, the shield bearers,
Yeah, the
and
this is a tier 3 of them, right? Or is this a tier 4? Is what I'm
no,
asking. I'm
no, no.
sorry.
This is the tier 3. The tier 4 is the other one. This is the tier 3, the
Okay.
guardian. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
would put them in as an A. Actually, I think I would put them as an S. I mean, everyone used these guys for sieging. All around, they're really good against all units. I've barely seen any units which can break them easily. I think they deserve an S tier.
Oh yeah.
All right. Next up is so these are the kind of archers of Erebor. The master throwers. You know the axe throwers.
I've had a lot of people tell me that these guys kind of are ass.
They're bad. I'll tell you why they're bad. The bow knights are 10 times better than them. They have the
Oh
exact
yeah,
same abilities as the bow knights, but worst. I mean, against they do have something which is good against melee units. They do deal extra 20% damage, but then again, they deal from 5 to 33 damage. So meaning, yes, okay, it will be better. So, but then if like half of your hits only deal 7 damage, while the other half only deals like 24 because it's random, it kind
yeah.
of becomes a problem. They do have some good HP, but in general, they're if you have the bow knights or the sentinels, you can replace them with the. I mean, you could replace these guys with the sentinel and the bow knights. I would put it as a C tier, to be honest. They're not
And
horrible.
I would probably put them as C just because I stopped using them. I think I only use them still on Gimli,
Yeah,
and even then I could have just turned it around and used the bow knights for Gimli because he has that ability that um is better with elves. Dwarves and
yeah,
elves working together. He has abilities for that.
yeah. I think they're good, but I mean they're definitely better than the Rohan archers. But at the same time, they're not better than the other units in B tier, like the
Yeah.
Dunedain and other one. Okay, next are so the shield bearers of Gondor, the guard of the tower. So these guys are
I
the
love these guys.
yeah, they're the
I will
anti
spam these
horses.
guys. I will
I
spam
think
them all day. They're amazing.
I think they're really good. They're actually really great. But then
Oh,
I would like to make a statement that they are
tough.
worse than the Guardian.
I'll make a statement that I will spam these guys for life.
Look, they're great, but they're also like they're only better than the Guardians when it comes to horses.
I vote
They
S.
they have less damage than them. They have less defense than them. They have less siege than them. So they're worse. They're definitely worse than the Guardians, but they're really good. Personally, I would put them between A and B tier.
Now, the other side of that is there's so many buffs that men units get from different commanders
Yeah.
that they can outscale the Guardian pretty easily.
Mm, yeah, but that's if you have the man commanders. You need Aragorn maybe Boromir. Besides that, there's
Yeah,
no other.
but those guys are pretty easy to get. Hill as
No,
well.
I'm talking about Aragorn. The king, the one that's tier 3
Oh,
commander. Because the
no, I was
normal
talking about
Aragorn
the
doesn't give
King
you
guy.
buffs for men.
Yeah, he does.
No,
It's his nobility skill.
he does.
I thought he did.
I don't think so. I mean, even if it is, it's like 2 or 3 units. It's the same thing with dwarves. I mean, if you have Gimli, if you have what's his name, Dane. I mean, he's really hard to get. But if you have Balin as well, I think it would be the same. Okay, I think they're good, but I would still not put them in S tier. I would say A tier. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I want S just because I'm doing it kind of like a meme, but I get what you're saying.
I mean, they're
So probably
good,
like a
but
B.
they're not better than the Guardians. I would say
Why not?
because I just told you they're weaker, much
I know
weaker
I'm messing.
in damage, health, and defense. They're weaker. And right now, we're not talking
Yeah,
about the commanders. We're talking about the units themselves. The commanders is another list. Because you can't say a commander
yeah.
is good because he uses this certain unit. I mean, actually, you can, but
Well,
yeah.
I I probably could, but
I
the
think,
the only reason I do that is because I'm looking at the big picture with all the different things.
but we're talking
If I'll
about
do
in
that, I'll look at
general.
them like,
We're talking about like,
yeah,
because these guys in general, they're powerful with every commander, and you can combine them with any units. I would say, and they'll be good.
yeah,
So, but at the same time, the Guardians of the Tower, I feel like they're the same as they're a bit weaker, but then they compensate in terms of they can defeat horse units better than the Guardians.
yeah.
But I don't know, S tier. I don't think they're up there with the Marshals, because if they came up against the Marshals, they would get smashed. I'm telling you from experience.
Oh, then I have to agree with you then.
It's I think I would put them in A. They're really good. But they're I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we should put them in S?
Sure.
All right, let's put them in S. Although this one is a bit of a controversy. Next are the Goat Riders. These guys are also a bit of a controversy. I think they're the worst horse unit.
Now, I do like throwing these guys with oh, what is it? With Aowen
Yeah,
and throwing like Casafrax and the other tier 3. Of course, this was on Airborne, so I didn't have access to the tier 4 one.
yeah,
But just throwing three types of these um different mounted units, it was a lot of fun. I just watched people just get smashed.
yeah. But maybe this is because for another reason. I don't know. If you look at their stats, they're weaker than all the other units. I mean, yes, they have more HP and more defense than the Rohan Cavalier, but
Yeah.
compared to them, they're still, in terms of damage, they're very weak, and they're very slow as well for a mounted unit. And then remember, the Rohirrim can do an extra 50% damage on their first round, while the the Goat Riders, they do have this ability where they can do minus 50% defense for one round. But then if you
Yeah.
have already a commander which gives you plus 35 defense, it kind of becomes useless. I don't know.
Now that being said, it really is dependent on what you're using. Because if you're using someone like Gimli, then yes, these guys are gonna break some face.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I think they're good, but they're not better than the Bow Knights. That's why I would put them in B tier.
We need to put them with Dane Ironfoot.
Okay, that's in B tier.
Why?
Now I don't know. They're not better than Bow Knights.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
Then
think
B
they're
tier.
on the same level as Cavaliers. You know, the Rohan horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is the Cataphracts. These guys are so good. I don't even need to make an argument. These guys go in S tier.
Um.
Except if you're against that.
No. These. This is the Gondor unit, right?
Yeah, this is the Gondor horse unit.
These guys
Or
can wreck some face.
tanks. Yeah, they are tanks. They're like moving tanks. You know, if I think they if the marshals didn't exist, I think they would be probably the best horse unit.
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean their damage is better than the goats. Their HP is better than the goats. They have 94 HP. That's crazy. And remember, HP is a lot more important than defense, because a lot of commanders neglect the defense of some units. So HP is very important, and that's why they're powerful. And then they also have like 15%. They receive less damage from melee units, and they also receive less damage because they're mounted units. So they're just a tank, I would say, and they
Oh
are
yeah.
powerful. They do have some good damage. So I would put them in S tier as well.
Something I would like to look into. Are they worth it? Now, this is just comparing some of these the command of like let's say you're looking at a melee unit that is just a basic melee unit, not mounted. They
Yeah,
take 100 space, right?
yeah. So
And
you
then a
wanna,
mounted unit takes 50.
yeah, I know what you
So if
mean. So you
you
gotta divide their power into.
is it still worth it based on some of those stats?
Yes, they would still have around 50 HP and like 30 defense, which is pretty good. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, compared to the Guardians, it's not that good. Um, yeah, compared to the Guardians, it's not insanely good. But then again, it's still really good. And remember, you're getting the mounted units buff and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they're fairly good.
I
Okay,
can agree with that.
look,
I
if
would
you're
definitely
putting,
want to be
I'm just
using
gonna
them with
say, if you're
Aeon.
putting the guard of the tower in S tier, you have to put the Cataphracts in S tier.
I'll put them in S tier as well.
Yeah.
Now, this might just be because I like Gondor's units.
Not really personally. I just think the Cataphracts. I mean, Gondor's. I don't really use the Guardian of the Tower. Maybe because most of my servers I'm on Rohan and I'm the one using the horses, so I don't need a counter to the horses.
Right.
So yeah, but I would
It's
put
not
them
like
in. I think the Gondor
it's,
units are pretty solid.
it's not like anti-horse units will help you against Mordor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, actually, Evo only have one, no, two. Sorry, three mounted units, right?
It's mostly the Warg Rider is almost all that use that Raider.
Oh yeah, you guys also have the wargs. I forgot about that. Actually, you do have a lot of mounted units.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we don't
Anyways,
use them.
yeah. Next up is the ghosts, the undead. The unit that has made so much controversy, I swore to never use again.
Did you do know they got nerfed, right?
Yeah, they're horrible. Okay, they're not horrible, but they're not good. I would put them in C tier.
Wait, which ghost are we talking about?
The undead,
The
the
Banshee?
Oathbreakers, Oathbreakers.
Oh, the Oathbreakers. Okay, those
Look,
ones. Yeah,
they're good, but they're not that good.
I like them if you have King of the Dead.
Yeah, but do you know how hard that is? That's why I would put them
I-
in C tier. I mean, if you have Haldir, if you have any elven, most elven units, most elven commanders can counter them so easily because they
yeah,
remove their special ability, and that way they become very useless. That's why I'm saying they're not that good. And even if you put them against like tanks, the tanks will win. If you put them against the tier 4 of Erebor, tier 4 of Erebor will easily win. So I think I would put them in C tier. What do you
yeah.
think?
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Next up are the tier 4 of Erebor, the
I love
small
these guys.
tanks. You know, yeah.
It's hammer time.
Yeah, I love their look. Their look is amazing. The Iron Guards, that's their
Like
name.
now, that being said, these guys are just begging to go up against like Mordor and just smash some faces in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're look. At first I thought they were one of the best. When I first started the game, I thought they were the best tier 4. But then after a bit of looking around, I realized they're.
Rohan's the
I would
best.
put them. They're definitely in the top 3.
I mean, Rune. Rune has the best.
Yeah, yeah, no, but I'm talking about good tier 4s. Um, I would argue they are very good, but at the same time, are they the best?
Maybe.
But that's not our argument right now. I think they definitely deserve to be because if the Guardian is in is an S tier, I think they for a tier. Okay, but then we have to look at it for as a tier 4 compared to the other tier 4s. I think they're very good compared to other tier 4s. I would put them definitely as the second strongest tier 4, right after the Marshals. So I think they deserve an
Right.
S tier.
I think they're pretty solid as well.
They have insanely good HP, insanely good defense. Their damage is averagely good. And then they have the best siege in the game after the Muma kills.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think they deserve an S tier. We have a lot of units in the S tier.
I think it's part of it might be biased. The other part might be that there is a good amount of balance in the game. We're just not realizing.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Next are the tier 3 of the elves. Tier 4 of the elves. Sorry, I can't pronounce this. The Marsh Warden. It's a weird one.
I don't see this ever. Now that might be that I don't fight Lothlorien or Linden, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
I'll tell you why. If you have a tank at the front, for example, if you have the Cataphrast, if you have the Guardians, if you have the tier 4 of Erebor, um, yeah, if you have those units, or if you have a Beorning, for example, these guys kind of become insignificant because yes, they deal a lot of damage, but they die very quickly. So if you don't have a good unit in front, they'll be easily killed. And I think they have a good ability, which 100% chance to ignore enemies' avoidance status. That's why they become very good against, for example, the Oathbreakers. But besides that, they're not insanely good.
Yeah,
They're unaffected by stun, and they do get a defense plus 20, which is good. But still, I mean, they're good. They're a good unit. They're a great unit. But they're a good tier 4. They're not a great tier 4. So I would put them in A personally.
Alrighty,
I mean,
I
you
agree
haven't
with
really
it.
fought them, so you don't know that much. But yeah.
It is. It's all I can say.
Next up is the Swan Knight, the Gondor units. Is it just me,
Um,
or do I feel like these guys are not that strong?
I don't know.
Okay,
There's
they
a limited
have.
amount of times I fought them.
I feel
Very
like
limited.
yeah, and I fought them. It's because people normally don't use them. They're really expensive, but then you could get the same, almost the same thing with the Cataphracts. I think their ability of having first 3 rounds defenses plus 100 and take all damage from normal attacks on behalf of allies, that's good. It's great actually, but their damage is bad. Their HP is it's not that good. It's actually pretty bad, and their defense is horrible. I mean, yeah, they do get a plus 100 defense buff with because of their ability, but then again, they're not that great. I mean,
Yeah,
compare them with the tier 4 of Erebor. The tier 4 of Erebor has almost the same HP. They have better defense and better attack. Not to mention they have their plus 20 damage to melee units, and then their minus 15% damage received. So if you
yeah,
compare them with the Swan Knight, which has minus 10% damage, which is less than the Iron Guards, and then they take damage for all the others, and then they also have plus 100 defense. That's a good ability, but in the grand scheme of things, not that great. They're not the best in siege. I mean, they're horses, and yeah,
right.
they're a good unit, but I think compared to other units, I would put them in A tier, and just due to the fact that they're not as powerful as the marshals, and I would say they are as powerful as the Iron Guard, but they cost a lot more grain, and they take so much time. So I think
And
if you had the Iron Guard, okay, I mean you can't have two tier 4 units, but they're the Iron Guards are definitely better, I would say.
right.
I think I would put them in A tier probably because they are
I would
good.
I would probably put them in B just because I haven't seen them a lot and I've seen them substituted for other stuff.
Yeah. The Cataphracts are like close behind them, I think. But the Cataphracts at the same time is a tier 3, so if you compare if you yeah, so like it makes sense that they're more powerful than the Cataphracts, but they're not that
Yeah,
much more powerful. Next is the Arnor tier 4. So you fought a lot of these guys cuz I think you fought
they
Arnor a lot.
so there's this meme from American Gods where the this Viking guy steps forward and then he gets like showered with arrows.
Yeah?
Like 100 arrows just hits them all at once. That's that.
I mean, I don't know if they're good. I've personally never encountered them, and I've never
Them
actually
combined with so I think what Arnor was using was like Cataphracts with these
yeah.
guys and Bow Knights, and they were just destroying us. We're like, what is
Really?
going on?
I mean, I actually don't know their exact abilities. Do you know their exact abilities?
They do like a volley every 2 rounds or something, or every 3 rounds.
Hmm. Where would you place them?
I would probably say an A if you can keep them defended. If
Yeah.
you are just using these guys alone, they're not going to be doing anything for a couple rounds. So I'd probably say a B. It really depends on composition and what you're fighting.
I mean, they're fairly good. Did you have 86 HP and 49 defense, which is pretty good for a tier 4.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
their siege is bad. It's horrible, actually. And they do have an avoidance status, which is good. Uh, but I don't
Now
know.
that being said, you can get avoidance with gear or commander abilities. So putting it on a
Yeah,
unit, I don't think it's as helpful.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. They're good, but they're not great. So A tier as well.
Yes.
All right. Next up is the tier 4 of Linden. Basically the ripoff of Lothlorien, but just blue and weaker.
Do they still call it the March Warden?
I have no idea what the name is, to be honest.
No one's ever fought London. They're always shoved in the left side of the map, and they get 15 territories and take a nap.
Exactly. And you know the funny thing is, these guys are weaker than their counterparts from Lothlorien in terms of A damage, HP, defense, and siege. I'm just thinking, what were they thinking when they were making this unit?
I think they were thinking that it's just in our Elven Kingdom.
Yeah, and it seems they have the same ability as or like similar abilities as these guys. Uh, I don't know. I would put them. They're probably. I think they're probably the worst tier 4. So I would probably put
Maybe.
them in C tier. They're definitely not as good as the Swan Knight. I don't know. Yeah, I would put them in C tier personally.
Alrighty. Now, since I don't know anything about them, I'll probably have to disagree with you.
The thing is, when we fought Linden, we didn't see them, and it was like towards the end of the game, so a lot of people had tier 4. So I'm thinking they're probably horrible. That's why they don't use them, and their stats are
Right?
worse than the Lothlorien elves, Lothlorien tier 4. So yeah, I think they're the worst. Okay, next is the Beornings.
Oh, we're doing the special hirelings too?
Yeah, we are for good units. The Beornings. I think they're really good units, but people don't use them because normally the tier 4 is stronger than them.
I think you have to have a very specific build for them.
Yeah, you need Haldir or Radagast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's a
would.
few other characters that do it, but that's pretty
Yeah,
much it.
yeah, I think I would put them in B probably because they're an average unit. They're
Because you
not.
need someone with beast synergy.
Yeah, and when they turn into a bear, they're pretty good. They do get like 40% extra damage, but at the same time, you need a specific commander. So I would put them in. I could argue we could put them in A. They're really powerful. They have good siege, and they have good HP all around. Their defense is
So can you
horrible
say
though.
they barely made it to A?
Yeah, I would say they barely made it to A. Like if we had a tier between A and B, they would be in that tier. Or actually, no. Let's just keep them in B.
Alrighty.
Let's say they're the
I'm just
best
trying
B
to
tier.
like make puns there just then.
Yeah, I saw that. All right.
Like
Next
I
up are
see what
the
you did there.
Ents. Oh no, oh no. I was
Um,
so disappointed with the Ents.
Now it was really funny seeing you run those ents for like 2 hours,
Yeah,
and then we just block you, and then they're running back for 2 hours, and we're
it's
just like, bye.
and then when they actually fought, I actually fought against a fire unit, so they got destroyed.
It's like, what's the pile of ash you brought into battle?
Yeah, it's like people thought I was actually running grandmas or something with me, and they were like, "What's happening?" But actually, these units are good. They're actually pretty good, I would say.
If they can get to the fight.
Yes, if they could get to the fight, they're good. But their speed is
Now,
their only downfall, and I think that makes them go down the tier list a lot.
that being said, I still stick to what I've always said with them. They need
An end commander, yeah,
they need an
Druid.
ant commander, not just like Picasso and Dippin.
Yeah, like I mean, Pippin and Mary do make them faster, which compensates for for like if you have if you have them fast, they can actually become good because they have
Yeah,
the same speed as an Iron Guard, for example, which is good. Um, they can defend the other. So if you combine these with hobbits, they actually become really good, almost
Roberts.
invincible. But their speed and their increased burn damage of 50% really makes them go down the list. I would put them personally. I would say B tier, C tier. Could even be a D tier.
Yeah.
I'd say C tier.
Now, I I'd probably say B just because I like tanky units.
But they're so slow. You're never gonna get to battle.
I don't need to go to battle. I just need them to walk around and look strong.
Yeah, I mean you could probably use them very well if you were defending your base.
Like all I have to do is sit on a crossroads and just be like, "Hi."
Yeah. Okay, okay. I would put them personally. I would put them in A if they were faster.
Yeah,
So Rise to War developers, if you're watching this, please make the ends faster.
marching speed plus 50%.
Yeah. Or like at least make their marching speed the same as Olo guys and like normal trolls. Okay, so B. They're in B. Next is one of the new units. I forgot the name. It's the Bree Archers. The Bree
Why?
Rider. Yeah, the Bree Riders. These guys are
Those
pretty
guys?
good.
Now,
Surprisingly.
we were at one point we were saying, oh, we weren't looking forward to these guys because we get better units um from Rohan or whatever. But it's
Yeah,
like, well, what if we just use them with them?
exactly. And they turn out to be pretty good. They're definitely better than the Rohan Tier 3, but their
Now,
abilities are pretty bad.
if we were to get them, we would have to go all the way through Isengard just to get to them.
Yeah, but if you're Arnor, right, and you don't have the Cavalier, you could technically take over one of these camps, and instead of using the Cavalier, you would use the Bree Rider.
Yeah,
They're good. Look, they're good. But are they better than the Cavalier? That's the question. And I
yeah.
think they could be. They could be.
I say
They
yes just for one reason. Most
what?
higher units are always going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, they are better in HP, defense, and they are fairly basically the same in terms of damage. Um, the Bree Riders deal a bit less damage, but then when you see the ability of the Cavalier, you're like, okay, maybe these guys are like at the same level.
Yeah,
I would put them in A tier. Actually, no, because they're only like available to Arnor technically. Just for example, the Beornings, you could take them with Lothlorien, you could take them with Angmar, you could take them with Erebor. So because they're like so scattered around. So I would say I would put them in B tier with the Beornings.
yeah.
They're a good unit, but they're hard to get. Okay, the small guys. Now we come to the halflings. Hobbit Archer. Oh my god, what were they thinking?
Um, I think it'd be fine to have a whole team of hobbits at some point. If they put in another and put like a hobbit, what was
A
it?
Hobbit
The Hobbit
horse,
Assassin or
a
whatever,
Hobbit pony. No, 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 a Hobbit pony or something.
right? But no, a
Yeah,
Hobbit tank.
it would be good for the memes, I would say.
Yeah, I would
Besides
have a
that,
whole army of hobbits.
yeah, but they're bad. They're like a
Oh
D
yeah,
tier. They're
here
horrible.
there or I use hobbits and make the orcs feel like I'm playing golf with them.
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. Um, if
It's
you
like, why are these
combine the
hobbits so
actually, if you
strong?
combine them, they do become a bit powerful.
Oh yeah.
If you combine them with the other hobbits, but besides that, they're really weak. So I would put them in D. What do you think? D or C?
Is there any commander skills that boost hobbits specifically?
Yeah, Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin, the two
Like
most useless
we need
commanders.
a hobbit like war commander.
Yeah, we need Bilbo.
No, no, like a hobbit warlord,
I don't think
like
that exists.
an evil hobbit. No, no, why not?
No, but it doesn't exist.
No, they can make it exist.
I mean, yeah, they did bring new commanders which didn't exist in the lore.
I just think
Yeah,
it'd
but
be
for
fun.
now, I think they're D tier. I would say. What do you think?
Um, I can agree to that.
I think we should put like a meme tier, and we put these guys in it.
What hobbit?
They look like Robin Hood. I swear to God, these guys look like Robin Hood.
It looks like they saw Aragorn in his duodyne form.
Yeah, and they're
We're
like,
like, I want to be that.
yeah, but cuter.
Yeah,
And then yeah, okay, so D tier, and then
yeah.
uh, the other one is the normal hobbits. The first one we got, Hobbit Swinger. Is it called?
The
No,
yes
Hobbit
hobbit.
Slinger. These guys are only good with ants. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So yeah, D tier. I
Um.
actually, I'm so sad to be
Now,
honest.
I
We
have
could,
seen some people put like 100 of these guys in an army
yeah.
and just be like, okay, there they are in the back row. So when someone like Lurch attacks the lowest defense unit, it
Yeah.
automatically triggers and fights those guys. So he's wasting a
Oh,
whole
so as
skill.
bait.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty smart.
Because if you also read their skill, they have something to do with that too.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
It's a
about that.
strategy I read about like Probably 6 months ago.
And actually, another good strategy, you could just put 100 of them, and you'll just get more units into the pharmacy.
Yeah,
So that's also a good tactic. Okay, maybe they're C tier. They could be used.
yeah.
They're
Like
not
if you're
as
using them for
useless
that
as the other
strategy, it's
ones.
kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, there are actually a few strategy with them. So yeah, they're pretty useful. The Eagles, the final unit, the Eagles.
Well, they should fly the ring to Mordor with them.
Exactly. Because they didn't do that, we should put them in F tier. No, I'm
Yeah,
joking. Um, these guys are fairly powerful.
they are, but they fall into the same trap that the Fell Beasts do. You don't want to actually fight with them. You just want to block lands with them.
Exactly. But even if you fight with them, I would say they would
You
destroy
have to have
most
something like
units.
Radagast for them to
But
be like
when
super strong.
yeah, but if you put them against any tier 4 units, they would get their ass kicked.
Oh yeah,
Like
like the Fell Beast with Witch King. Is there a commander specific for Eagles?
yeah. Radagast technically.
Well, I mean, no, just Eagles, Eagles.
No, there isn't Eagles, but Radagast does give beasts boosts. So yeah, Radagast could use them very well.
Alrighty.
You could like if you combine these guys with Beornings, they would make a very strong army if you have
Oh yeah,
Radagast. But at the same time, put these guys up against the Marshals, which aren't even archer units. The Marshals would still beat them. And then if you
yeah.
put them against the tier 4 of like Linden, Lothlorien, if you put them against normal archers, if you put them against I don't know, if you put them against Ents, they'll get killed. If you put them against Bow
Oh yeah.
Knights, they'll get destroyed.
But that's the same with Fell Beast too.
Yeah, they are actually a bit more powerful than Fell Beasts, which is something which is good. But still, at the end of the day, I would say they're an A tier. They can be very useful.
Yeah,
If you want a strong army that's really fast,
I
these are the
still
guys to
think
go
that
for.
when we actually use them, more often I see people just use them to block tiles or to get to a place faster than the enemy.
If you combine these guys with Ents, they could be
Yeah,
very
but then it
powerful.
slows them down because it's
Oh yeah, true.
the max speed is the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, I would put them in A tier. They're definitely not in S tier.
Like their actual practicality falls into blocking tiles.
Yeah, and then fast, strong army, not
Yeah,
fast, powerful army. Like strong, like it's not insanely strong, but it's strong. But
yeah.
then at the same time, if you want a fast, strong army, you have the marshals. If you're in Rohan, so yeah, I would put them in A tier. What do you think?
I can agree with it.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much it. We don't have any units anymore, except if they decide to add new units, and then we'll have to redo this whole thing again.
Right?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. We're going to
Hey,
be
wait, I
at
have a question.
yes, sir.
Where's my rhino?
Oh yeah, where's the war rhinos? They're in every movie. But these
You're like
guys,
you forgot my rhino.
yeah. Okay, so soon we'll do the evil units, and they actually have something which looks like a rhino. So you'll have your rhino.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And this was Talion from the Forces of Good,
And the Saramaya, the force of evil.
and enjoy your days.
No, no.